welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we're going to be playing with this new stamp set, the Elegantly Said stamp set, and that's out of the new annual catalogue. So it's really gorgeous with lots of detail in the stamps, and you've got quite a lot of beautiful sentiments as well. You've got wishing you a wonderful birthday, happy anniversary, thank you, all the things you do are simply amazing for you, life has changed for you but my love and support never will, and true love stories last forever. So I'm using this stamp set and I'm filming this ahead of time, so I'm filming this before I send all my catalogues out because I want to show you how to bulk make this card. So this is the card that I'm going to send out with all of my catalogues, so I need to make quite a lot of them. I send catalogues for free to all of my customers, so I like to put a little card in there as well, just to say thank you for shopping with me within the last year and to show them some of the new product. I think there's lots of reasons why you might want to bulk make. You might be selling the cards that you make, you might be doing thank you cards for a wedding or a special birthday, or there are so many different occasions where you might want to bulk make cards. Even sometimes if I really like a particular design, I might bulk make just like 4 or 5 just to pop in my card selection, just so that I know that I've got them there when people's birthdays come up and things. And even though I'm using this thank you sentiment, you could use any of the other sentiments and do it in exactly the same way to bulk make. So the main secret behind bulk making is making sure that you do each process at once. So I need to make 26 of these cards. So I'm going to show you, and I'm not going to show you me making every single one, but I am actually going to, off the scenes, do them all at once, so that then at the end I can tell you how long that it's taken, and then you can get an idea of the time saving behind bulk making as opposed to doing each one individually. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and the first thing I'm going to start with is the card blanks. So I need 5" by 10" pieces for my card blanks, so they're all going to be basic black. And the good thing is as well, when you are bulk making, you know exactly what you're doing, so you can just pop the next one in, 5" by 10". You don't have to really think about the measurements because you're just doing the same as the last one. So now I've got all of my card blanks cut. So that took me 8 minutes. And while I've got all my cutting stuff out, then I want to make sure that I make the most of that. So I'll do all my cutting at once. So next thing I want to cut is the very vanilla pieces to go inside. So that leaves a really nice place for people to write. So I want these to be 4 3/4 inches square. So then I can cut this at 4 3/4 inches. And then I want to cut it at 9.5 inches. Because that's 2 times 4 3/4. And then at 4 3/4. And then I've got 2 pieces measuring 4 3/4 inches square. So now I've got all of my very vanilla mats done as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is cut up the gold foil sheet. And this is the most expensive part of my project, so I've sized the project to make the most out of this. So it's a 12 by 12 sheet. So I'm going to use a 4 by 4 piece so that I can get 9 pieces out of the sheet. So I'm going to cut that at 4 inches. And then I'm going to move this piece and cut it at 4 inches again. And then for each of these 4-inch pieces, I'm going to cut at 4 inches twice again. So we can do 8 inches, and then 4 inches. So then we'll get 9 of these from each sheet. And then for the black mat, so we've cut this and this, and we just need to cut this black mat now. So that is going to be 3 3/4 inches square. So I want to do it at 7.5, because that's 2 times 3 3/4. And then I want to do it at 11.25, because that's 3 times 3 3/4. So I can get 6 pieces, 6 mats out of one sheet here. So then I'm going to cut this at 3 3/4 this way. So you can see I've cut that in half. And then I can do it at 7.5. And then 3 3/4. You can just put it at 3 3/4 3 times. It doesn't really make a difference. I just prefer sliding it through, that's all. So it's at 7.5. And 3 3/4. So then I've got 6 3 3/4 squares from one sheet of black cardstock. So then there's my black layer, and it's taken me exactly half an hour, literally to the minute, to create the card blanks and all 3 mats. So if you have this paper trimmer, then we're going to be making we're going to be scoring our card blanks next. So if you don't have a scoreboard, then use this paper trimmer, and you can just score using the scoring blade instead. I find my scoreboard slightly quicker, so I'm going to be using my scoreboard instead, just because we've been bulk making and I want the quickest option. So the next thing we're going to do is scoring. So I'm going to score each of these at 5 inches. Then that's all my card blanks scored, and now I just need to fold them in half. The other thing that's quite nice about using the scoreboard as opposed to the paper trimmer, if you've got one, is that it gives a slightly deeper score, and so it is actually easier to just fold the card blanks in half really quickly. There, all my card blanks have been folded. So the next thing that we want to do is the stamping, and we want to heat emboss these. So what I'm going to do, I've got this template that I cut out on another video here, and I'm popping my square in the middle of this template so that I know where it's at. But you can easily just put a strip of cardstock at the top and a strip down the side. Now you could put 2 pieces just like this. And the reason that I'm not poking it up in the corner is that it doesn't stamp as well in the corner, because there's not as much pressure going down, so you get a better impression in the middle. So if you were doing it with corners, you could do it like this, and then you can just butt that up. It's just so that you know that the square is going to be in the same place each time. So whatever way works for you, but you just want the square to be in the same place each time. So I'm just using this as a guide, because it doesn't need to be like exact, but that's the way I'm going to make sure that my square is in the same place each time. And I've positioned my stamp so that it goes just slightly off the corner of that square. And The stamp that I'm using is this beautiful corner from the stamp set I showed you earlier. So I'm just going to run that over with my embossing buddy. I'm going to ink this up with my Versamark ink pad. I'm going to pull it down. Then I'm just going to rotate this square 90 degrees. And then I'm going to ink it up again. And I'm just going to stamp it in this other corner. Now this is a place where I'm going to go slightly off track, because you could do all the stamping and then put the embossing powder on and then heat emboss it. But I want to do it all at once because I don't have space to put them all out. You would have to have space to put them all out individually, and I don't have space for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp, then I'm going to do my powder, and then I'm going to heat emboss it, and then I'm going to do each one like that. So it's still a bit of a production line, but I am doing three processes at once, which I wouldn't do if I had the space to do one process at a time. So I'm going to use my gold embossing powder, and when I'm doing a lot of heat embossing, I like to use a pot and a spoon so that I can sprinkle this over. So I'm just going to put it into this plastic tub, so I don't have to worry about pouring it back into this little pot each time. And then from here on in, I'm just going to use the spoon just to sprinkle it over all the other ones. So now I can get my heat embossing tool. I'm just going to put that on level 2. So this is definitely going to be the most time consuming part of the process. So I'm going to do one more with you and then I'll do the rest off camera. So the best part about this is having this set up so that I know exactly where it's going, so I can just pop that in, running the embossing buddy over, and then I know it's nicely placed for my stamp. Then I can just pull that down, turn it round, ink it up again, pull it down again, and then I'm just going to pull that over. And you can see, because it's all in the pot now, I'm just using the spoon to scoop it up and pour it back over, and that's much quicker than putting it back into the pot each time. And if you've got pieces like this where it's just gone over, then just scrape that off, because you don't want that on your thing. You don't want that to get heat embossed there. And I'm just going to get my embossing tool again. So you can see I'm getting a really standard finish each time. They look exactly the same on each one. So you can see that I've got all of my pieces. They all look the same because I've done it with the Stamparatus. And that was by far the longest stage of the process. So they took me about 1 hour and 10 minutes to do all of those. So then I'm going to use this thank you sentiment. You could use, of course, whatever works for you. And I'm going to use a double oval punch for this as well, for the sentiment. And actually, before I do this section, I'm just going to show you the rest of this suite, because I don't know if you know, but if you buy a bundle with Stampin' Up, then you save 10% on buying the two things separately. So it's actually a punch that coordinates with this. So it's this punch, and you can actually see in the catalogue, if you buy the bundle, then it's £34 instead of £38 if you buy the two pieces separately. And if you're in euros, that's €45 instead of €50. And you can see with this suite, you get this gorgeous, you've got this gorgeous paper that coordinates with it. And then this tag punch, you can create tags of any length. It says here, simply cut the cardstock to 1 3/4 inches, which is 4.4 centimetres. Then you can punch each end of the tag in turn and create a longer tag, or you can just have this piece. So I really love that, and I love, love, love these papers as well. I'm going to be using those a lot. And you can see the gorgeous samples that they've used. This is the stamp that we've been using today with some of the papers. And this is that floral stamp that's on it too. And then you can see that's the stamp that we've used today as well. And you've got all the gorgeous sentiments as well. So for the sentiment, I'm going to do some more heat embossing. So this is one of the ends of, when we cut out the card blanks, this is the end that you've got the 10 inches of that we cut off for the card blank, and then this is the end piece that's the rest of the cardstock. So that's just scraps left over. So we can get 2 thank yous for each of these. And I'm just bearing in mind that I'm cutting it out with this oval punch, so I need to leave this much space around it, so I don't want them right next to each other. So I'm just going to ink that up with my Versamark ink, and stamp it on here, ink it up again, stamp it on again, and then I'm going to cover it with the embossing powder again, and I actually left the tub in the other room because I went off camera and did the rest of the embossing in the other room rather than standing up and doing it for all that time. So I've just got this little bit left in here. Now I'm just going to heat that up. So then I've done all my thank yous, and I also thought I'd just do this little sample. Hope that you can see that nicely, because I wanted to show you, because our embossing powders now come in 2 packs, so you can get the basics, which you get black, clear and white in, and this pack with the gold in is the metallics, so you get this nice copper, the brighter gold and the silver in that. So it's a really nice pack, and you get the 3 colours in it. So now I'm just going to take my oval punch, and I can just punch those out. And I've chosen a punch for the speed because obviously die cutting 26 items does take a little while. Punching it, however, takes next to no time. So now I've got all these punched out, and actually one of the things I just wanted to show you on the heat embossing is just how nice a quality the embossing powder is. Like, you can see all the tiny details it's got into, like even those little dots here. Because it's such a nice fine embossing powder, it's really good at picking up all those details. That's one of the things I always say when someone's saying, well, why should I buy from Stampin' Up? The quality is really nice. So the next thing I'm going to do is punch this part of the oval out of gold foil sheet, and I'm going to use up all my scraps to do this. I'm just going to punch them out, it's really easy. So although I love die cutting, and you'll see me die cutting on most of my videos when I want to make one of a card, if I am making lots of a card, I try to use punches because it's so much quicker. So now I'm going to move on to gluing. So I'm going to glue each of these black pieces onto one of the gold pieces. and actually I put a bit too much glue on my first pieces, and I've learned as I've gone along because I don't want it to squidge out the side. So I'm just putting a little squidge of glue, just like that, and that's enough to hold it on, but then it's not likely to squidge out the side because it's just a small amount. So that's all of those done, so I'll pop those to one side, and my next bit of gluing is going to be the black mats onto the gold mats. So again, I'm not going too close to the edges on these so that it doesn't splodge out onto my gold sheet. So now we've got all of these, so I'm going to pop those to the side, and the next stage is to glue very vanilla sheets inside our basic black card blanks. Then that's all of our card blanks that have the inserts inside. So now I'm going to glue these onto the card blanks. So all of my cards now have a card front on them. So all that's left to do is just put my sentiments on. So I'm just going to add 2 Stampin' Dimensionals and just pop this in the middle of each one. So there's the first one finished. So those are all our finished cards. So it's taken me 3 hours and 20 minutes to make all of these cards, which sounds like a long time, but actually when you think how much time the bulk making processes save, it actually only works out at about 8 minutes a card. So I'd never be able to make those cards in 8 minutes if I wasn't bulk making. So it's a really efficient way of doing things. So I really hope that you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd appreciate you clicking like below, and you can also click subscribe if you'd like to see future projects. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will notify you when I've got new videos available. All of the products that we've used in today's video are linked in the description below, and there'll also be a host code there. If you pop the host code into your basket before you check out, then I'll send you a free gift after the end of the month. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.